Hey, Boo, and welcome back to another episode of Financially Abundant, where we're all about building wealth without sacrificing joy. Because you don't have to choose between hitting your goals and living your life. You can have both. So join me every Tuesday as we navigate this journey together with the discipline to stay focused, the balance to enjoy life, and the faith to know that nothing is impossible. Because it's sexy when you got your money together. And also, it's pretty badass. So, let's get into it.
It keeps bringing me joy. Each new blessing I receive. It keeps bringing me joy. Blessings falling down on me. Blessings falling down on me. Blessings falling down on me. Blessings falling down on me.
Hey, family, and welcome back to another episode of Financially Abundant. And most importantly, it is March. We are in the third month of the year, almost done with the first quarter. But most importantly, the month of March is all about celebrating women. Everything I do is for the girls. And we only support men that support women. So, but happy Women's History Month. And so for the month of March, I decided to switch it up and do something different, something fun, and interview like-minded women that are in this space, that are believing in God, that have a dream, that have goals, just different things that they want to accomplish. People just like me and you that decided to take a leap of faith, decided to be delusional about their dreams and their goals, and wanting to just create the life that they want to live. Financially abundant is more than just getting your finances together. This is a lifelong journey, but it is about connecting with women and men in this space that are just believing in themselves and just took that leap of faith. We're all about connection, inspiring, and encouraging one another. We need a little bit more of that this time of year, especially with everything that's going on. So to kick off the first episode of the month of March of Women's History Month, we will be interviewing one of my dear friends to my heart, Ariana Simone from the Divinegracethepod. Ari and I met last year. If y'all remember, Ari was one of the first people to ever interview me. Outside of like my show, she interviewed me. So we met and we've been virtual besties like since. And I live in Dallas. Her dog named in Dallas. We got Dallas and Tyrone around the same time. They're literally like cousins. Like we are literally like virtual besties. And I just cannot wait for the day that we like finally get to meet up. But Ari is just, when I say God's timing and divine connection, that is who Ari is to me. So without further ado, let's introduce Ari on today's episode for Women's History Month. You guys are going to love this episode. Hey, sister.
Hi.
How are you?
I am so good. I'm just happy and grateful to be here. Your platform is a blessing,
Oh my
okay?
God.
A blessing for
Oh my
women like us.
God.
And I'm just so happy to be here. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and just thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we met and we've been friends like every day since. So
Yep.
it's just so amazing to just connect just with other women, especially like Black women that are in this space that are just like, you know what? Like, I believe God. I don't know what's going on, but we gonna do it.
Yep.
Have the confidence of a man. You know that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
and I think we've had so much support for one another. We encourage each other. Every conversation we have, I
Literally.
lose that conversation thinking that I need to get my life together, like immediately. And so I appreciate that, and I love that.
I appreciate you too. I do. I feel every time we talk, like I feel so fulfilled. Like,
Yes.
yeah. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start the Divine Grace podcast.
Yeah, so my name is Ariana. I am a digital marketing corporate girly by day and basically a wellness and fitness enthusiast by night. So I really enjoy anything relating to wellness, self-development, habits, but I also love faith, and faith has always been really integral to my journey and my process. And as someone who consumed a lot of podcast content. Some of my favorites are like Woman Evolved by Sarah
Sarah.
Jakes Roberts, and then Balanced Black Girl by LaShondra Alfred.
I love her podcast
I
too.
do too, right?
She's awesome. She's a dream guest, honestly.
She literally, I kid you not. But those two podcasts were like where Divine Grace was born, essentially. I wanted a space that allowed intersection for both of those things. So like women who are on their walk with Christ and trying to strengthen their relationship with God, and also trying to navigate how to incorporate movement in their everyday life as an adult, and incorporate mental health practices and mindfulness and things like that. So Divine Grace is like the brain baby of those two ideas.
I love that. And so, how has your experience as a woman of color just influenced your perspective on wellness and faith and like that intersection? I think that's so important, and we don't talk about that at all. So let me just know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, as a woman of color, and then more specifically a Black woman, I think it made me more aware of, number one, the lack of representation in the space. So when we think about like wellness brands or like wellnessy influencers, the most prominent influencers and faces out there don't look like me.
Yeah.
They don't look like me. They don't look like my friends. And that was kind of difficult for me to navigate because it kind of gave me a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And so, but I realized that, okay, there needs to be more representation of women who look like me to create a safe space for us to, you know, learn more about wellness, what it means, what it is, how to incorporate it in your life, and make it a sustainable lifestyle. Because wellness isn't something that you just kind of like dabble into.
Correct. It's a lifelong journey.
It is a lifelong journey. And so I think for me, that was my biggest, that was one of the biggest things that I learned being a woman of color, being interested in wellness. And then also, I think...
Hey, before you even finish that thought, that was one of the reasons why I started Financially Abundant, was because that there was no representation of people that looked like me in this space. Not only just being a woman, but being a Black woman, being young. I just could not relate to what was out there. And then even when I started, so we'll be coming up on year 3 of the show. So even when I started, I think I wanted, like when you think about finances and we think about wellness, and I'll correlate the two, especially for finance, it's like this. You think of like finance bros, like very like suit and tie, like it's just fun and stiff. It's this thing like that. People know that, you know, it's important and it's this lifelong, you know, journey and stuff. I started learning from Dave Ramsey because I didn't have anyone in this space. But also some of the things that he talked about, that's just not sustainable for me. It's not sustainable for people that look like me, right?
Right.
So when I started out, I felt like I wasn't myself, and I lost myself because I wanted to be like taken serious in this space, and I wanted like my counterparts, like I wanted people to like be serious. But I am a fun personality, and when I started, I'm like, my whole thing is to like make finances fun. But I kind of lost that along the way. So like now I feel like I'm back to like, you know, had a moment, but like let's make this thing fun, because life is fun. It's not just, it's a lifelong thing. Like there are going to be highs and lows in this thing, even when it comes to wellness. Like it's more than just gaining weight and losing weight. It's like, how am I taking care of myself? How am I showing up for myself? You have taught me the first thing I need to do in the morning is to pour into myself, because I can't pour into anyone else unless I pour into myself. Your watch go off every morning at 4 a.m. My girl don't play. She be in the gym at 4 a.m. and you made me become a 5 a.m. girly. And I tell you, the days that I work out in the morning are the best days I ever had.
They are.
I swear
I don't
to
know
God.
the science behind it, but there's something to be said about a really, really good morning routine. And what she's talking about is actually, I think we share our fitness.
Yeah, we activity on the Apple Watch.
And if you want to be more consistent, that's such a good little hack. Like, share your activity with your homegirl, and you guys can kind of encourage each other, because it'll be like, hey, Denai just walked 3 miles at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're like, let me get out of bed.
Okay, so then you get that notification like, okay, like, you think you better than me?
Right. Let me get on my Zoom.
Yeah, no, and so I understand like wanting that representation, and then that's where faith comes in because I feel like growing up in the church or when it comes to faith, we don't talk about mental health and being healthy. And one quote I heard a long time ago that stuck with me is God can only take you as far as your body allows. And so like it's so important to not only look healthy but be healthy because you can be small and not be healthy, and then there's a misconception of like you can weigh more and not be healthy as well.
Absolutely.
So where do you think like why do you think sometimes like wellness and mental health and even like finances kind of get lost in faith as we grow up?
That's really interesting because for me, to answer your question, I'm not 100% sure. I think people like to compartmentalize things, but as someone who considers himself a woman of God, faith has always been integral in like everything. It's always been a part of every facet of my life, whether it's career, whether it's friendship, whether it's personal goals, financial goals. And so inviting God into those spaces for me have been life-changing, and I found that I had the most progress and I was had the most epiphanies when I allowed him into those spaces. And I kind of discussed it with him, but I don't think they're separate. I think there's so many principles in the Bible that are very important to the idea of finances. Like, for example, stewardship.
Yeah.
Stewardship is huge. Like,
yes.
Divine grace is essentially, it's the brain baby of like wanting to intersect faith, habits, wellness, but also it's about stewardship in general, whether it's stewarding your body, stewarding your money, stewarding your mind. All of that is really, really important. He's given us all of these tools and all of these blessings. How are we taking care of them and maintaining them? And so I'm not sure why people I think maybe it's easier to process, maybe, but I definitely think the intersection is there. And for me, it's been a huge tool in my journey, both financially and pertaining to wellness, incorporating God. So that's like listening to sermons at the gym or
Baby, especially
listening
when I'm
to
up in the
sermons about
morning.
finances.
Yeah. Especially when I'm up and I work out in the morning, I have a rule like I can't listen to anything else until 12 a.m. I mean,
Yes.
12 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So gospel music, sermons, like you said,
Yes.
just inviting God into like every little thing that you do. I think that's so important. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Yes, and then when you talk about stewardship as well, ooh,
Yeah.
baby. I had a harsh reality that made me realize and I think we oftentimes we feel like we need more, like we're in this constant rat race, in order for me to for example, when we were talking earlier this week and I was like, hey boo, I got $15, I'm just gonna add it to like my high yield savings account and I'm just gonna make a video about it, not thinking nothing of it. You were like, girl, go ahead, do it. I'm gonna do $15 too and we just go do it together. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And even being a steward over the little things, and it just made me realize that right now I'm in a season of in between. And it just made me realize the importance of still being a good steward and still showing up no matter what it looks like. Because when I had these things, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. When I was healthy, I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating, doing the 80-20. But then when things happen, it makes you realize I've always had more than enough. I've had everything that I needed.
Yeah, and I think when we get into this habit of asking God for more all the time, and I'm also guilty of this, but we're constantly asking for more and more. And then it's like, but what are you doing with what I've given you? You're already standing in blessings, right? You have the ability to move your body. You have the ability to allocate $10, even if it's just 10. You have the ability to do that. What are you doing right now with what you have?
Yes.
So I think you're right. I totally agree.
And then you told me your financial win was that you automated your savings. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my financial
That's so
win
boss. Beep, 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 beep. That's so badass though. If you're on a sexy life.
Yes. Okay, so I've gone through seasons where I wasn't able to do that though. Let me be very transparent. I've also had in between seasons where, me and corporate America were not friends. And you know what I mean? So it's definitely been seasons where I wasn't able to, but automating is like a blessing, especially if you are someone who's naturally a spender and who likes to, and I think that ties into some other conversations, but making sure you're emotionally and mentally well, so you don't feel like you need fulfillment from spending.
Yes.
And material.
Yes.
Ooh, but if you're naturally,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, but if you're someone who's naturally someone who likes to spend to feel better, automating your finances and specifically your savings can be a lifesaver because you don't see the money.
Yeah.
You can't go to Home Goods if you don't see it.
Correct.
So you just have to trick your brain and trick yourself.
Yes. I love that because like I had did that at one point and then I stopped. Yeah. Even when like me and corporate America were besties. And I stopped, and then it just like, again, it just make you sit back and be like, I used to do some dumb ass shit. Like, oh my God. But now I'm just like, whenever I got extra, I can, make sure, like, let's be smart, like, make sure the bills, roof over head, clothes on the back, food on the table.
We don't play with bill money.
No. Baby, I will go down to the bank.
Okay.
To make sure these bills are paid.
Yeah.
Okay? Never been ashamed. And I would say sell feet pics if I got to. Bills.
Feet pics is crazy.
Babies. And I don't have the cutest feet either. I mean, they not like,
they're not scary, but like, look at the job done.
Right, but so, look, I'm leaving here with something.
Period.
But, it just makes you I'm learning to be grateful in every aspect of everything. And like when you told me to get the gratitude journal and I got it and it's just like, it's just been so, oh my God, you don't realize like just how good God is.
Yeah. I just started back journaling actually. Cause I told you, or I said on my last episode was that I started and then I stopped. Because I feel like once you miss a couple of days, it's so hard to get back on your horse. But I recognize that like when I start my day with just saying, God, thank you for this bed I woke up in.
Oh,
like,
yes, the little
thank you
thing.
for the sun that is shining on my skin right now. Thank you for the fact that I have a roof right now because there are people who woke up without one. My mindset and my heart posture for the rest of the day is set. Even when people come at me crazy at work, I'm like, you know what? God bless you. God bless you know what I mean? Like I can be very classy.
So
I can go high.
Mature because I'll be like, girl, who you talking to?
Yeah. Sometimes I want to go low. Sometimes they go low and I want to go
lower. Yeah.
But
what are some of the challenges that you see a lot of women face when it comes to like their wellness and like wanting to, have those healthy habits, get in the gym, just different things like that? Like, but before I ask that, what actually encompasses wellness? Like, I feel like when we think of wellness, we think of like, oh, I just need to work out. And it's like, what's the point of like working out? And we make workout feel like a chore. So what encompasses wellness? And then what are some of the challenges that people face trying to, just in this space?
So I think of wellness as like an umbrella term. And then there are like little building blocks to it, right? So I think of mental wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness. So that's like whatever your belief system is, we're Christian here, but whatever your belief system is, making sure you have a strong foundation in that. But also financial wellness. I think that one gets kind of lost in the sauce more than anything because we don't think finances have that much of an impact on your
wellness, overall
well-being, but it does.
It does, yes.
If you are financially insecure or you're in a place where you're financially in disarray, because your sleep pattern messed up, you waking up in the middle of the night stressed, it affects everything else. And so mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, I feel like and of course physical. Okay. So I think those are kind of the building blocks of wellness. So making sure, that doesn't mean necessarily being perfect in each and every aspect, but certainly putting forth effort in each one, if that makes sense.
Okay. And how do you start creating healthy habits, right? Because like the best way to eat an elephant is to take it piece by piece. You can't eat it like in the whole. So with those 5 categories, what should you focus on first to help trickle down? And are there any specific habits like discipline, consistency? And how do you just continue to strive in these areas? Because like you said, it is a lifelong journey. It doesn't happen overnight. But how do you continue to strive in these areas, build these healthy habits, and then stay motivated?
So
I know that was a loaded question.
Yeah. Remind me of the first part of that question.
How do you rank them? Like which one's
most important?
What's most important to you?
So I think it depends on the season that you're in, right? I would venture to say that maybe the physical one is number one, but that's probably because I genuinely love fitness. I've always told people that I feel like, well, first of all, I was introduced to movement and fitness in a time in my life where I was just low. And so I think of it as like I was like drowning, and God gave me this little floaty and was like, hey, here's something that you can kind of you can do that will help you feel better. And so fitness for me is probably my base. That's like my baseline. But I do think that determining which one is most important will probably be dependent on the season that you're in, particularly, right? So if you're in a season of like financial disarray and dysfunction, and you've gotten to a point where like, okay, something needs to change.
Ooh, it's okay. Technical difficulties.
And so if you're in a season of financial dysfunction and something needs to change, then I would probably say starting with the financial wellness. And so that could start with like maybe seeking out resources where you're learning more about financial literacy, starting a budget. If you don't have a budget, I think everything else is going to go to hell, essentially. Regardless of how much you make, I think budgeting is important.
Absolutely.
But on the flip side, if you feel like your mental wellness is really being hindered in that season, then I think maybe one of the first steps is journaling. Figuring out, are there any like blocks or roadblocks or obstacles internally that you're trying to work through? Do you have any trauma that maybe needs to be addressed? So I think it depends on the season that you're in, although I would be biased and say physical.
I'm a little biased too, and I would say physical. For me, it's because I think when I feel good,
yes,
I do better. So I went through a season where my mental wellness was like just in disarray, right? Like I just had a lot of moving pieces going on in my life. Really these last 2 years, and I think I used to say these were such challenging times, right? But then now that I've grown and I'm, kind of exiting out of the wilderness season and just like life is consistent seasons. That's what I'm learning. Like it's a consistent show. Like it's gonna be some parts of the show that we like, and some episodes we're like, hell yeah, that was a good episode. And then some episodes will be like, I don't like this character.
Yeah.
But anyway, now that I'm like, maturing out of that, I always say like, God, I thank you, God, for that was a season of resiliency. God, thank you, God, for showing me that I got that dog in me, because if I don't know a lot of people that could have got through that, you know what I'm saying? So, but I say all that to say, like, during that season, that was when I like started getting my fitness together. Like I lost weight. Like this time last year, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me because I had noticed that I had like, I'm an emotional eater and an emotional spender. So those two things are like, and the back baby, I went to the mall. And like we were going back in the office at this point, and I had went to the mall, and I had to like get work clothes because I couldn't fit anything in my closet anymore. Girl, when I went, first of all, my mistake was going to Banana Republic. They don't make clothes for us.
I don't think I've ever set foot in a Banana Republic.
I used to work there actually.
Really?
I worked at Banana Republic and I worked at Athleta. I loved it. My discount was 50%. I have so many workout clothes. But anyway, girl, I had to try on a size 20 in pants. And I was just like... Yeah. So that kind of... But
Jump started.
yeah, jump started it. So, but getting my physical wellness together, I like started looking better and feeling better, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go to a therapist. Like, I think I know it's a luxury, and if you can afford it, absolutely go. Like, it is truly a blessing. But like seeing the lady. So once I got my physical, then I started working on my mental. Then like my finances, like I just started seeing different things from just a different perspective. So I agree. It does just depend on the season that you're in.
I so agree. To your point, I think the discipline that's required of you when working out, right, spills over into other
It
areas of
does.
life,
It
right? And so
does.
once you start getting that discipline, I think it builds your confidence in a way.
It
You know
does.
what I mean? Like it makes you feel like that girl. Like
Yes.
you made a commitment to yourself, you showed up, you did it, you did hard things, and now it makes you more confident in other areas of your life. And so I agree. I think that there's just something to be said about starting with physical, and that doesn't look the same for everyone.
Everyone.
So it
Correct.
may not be strength training. I personally love weight training. That's my favorite thing to do. Not a runner, probably won't ever be.
Ever. Baby, don't ask me.
Probably.
My friends literally texted me like last week, and it was like, y'all want to do like a marathon? I said, why would you want to do that?
Well, okay, so
Not a marathon. It was a 5K. I was like, what do you want to do that for? They're like, Denai,
Yeah,
you could walk
so,
on
like,
a Stairmaster
running
for
regular-
45 minutes. You could do a 5K. I'm like, that's different. It's two different
Yeah.
things.
it's a lot, and like it's just not for me. But like I have a friend who loves to run, and that's just her form of fitness. But you have to find what works for you. Find
Yes.
what you enjoy, and that can be sustainable throughout your life, and not just like, oh, I have to go to whatever this morning.
How do you find what works for you, right? Especially in the age of social media, when it comes to like just wellness overall. Like we have like I love the era of seeing like women pouring into themselves. I love it because I feel like, especially during Women's History Month, I feel like for so long we have given ourselves to so many areas in our life, either consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
We give a lot throughout the year. And I love seeing this era of like women taking themselves self-care days. I have a deny day where every month I do something for myself. But it's like, how do we figure out what works for us?
So pertaining to physical wellness or just like wellness in general?
Wellness in general.
Trial and error. I would say to treat it, I use the same analogy when talking about therapy, because some people find that they try therapy for the first time and they're like, this doesn't work.
Right.
But finding a good therapist is like dating. You
Yeah.
have to try different people.
Yes.
You have to make sure the communication style is right. You have to make sure that the atmosphere is good. Are you receptive to the way that they communicate things? Like, there's so many factors that go into that. And I think similarly, when it comes to cultivating wellness practices, they have to be things that work for you. For example, I know that, meditation is huge right now. And I love meditating, but I don't necessarily meditate in the traditional way where like, I'm like, like
Yeah.
crisscross applesauce.
Sauce, yeah.
No, like that, that's kind of a lot. People that meditate for 10 minutes can't do that. But what I can do is there's something called breath prayers. And then there's an app called Abide where it's like you meditate on scripture for like 2 minutes. And it's like this calming, I can do that. So you have to like curate it to your preferences and your likes. Another thing is like, I know it's like really trendy to be like a Pilates girly. Tried Pilates, not a fan. It's just not, it's okay, but like I'm not.
It's not my
obsessed with
go-to.
fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my go-to. What I did find though, recently I just discovered bar.
I know I saw.
Yeah, and so that's been kind of like amazing because my entire fitness journey thus far has been strength training and mostly working by myself. Just because I like spending time with myself.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would enjoy a workout class necessarily, but discovering bar has kind of like opening up a door for different types of movement that I wasn't familiar with, and it's challenging. And so I think trying out little things, trying out different, so maybe you don't like talk therapy. Maybe you like, what is it? Is it art therapy?
Okay,
Maybe
yes,
you like art
therapy.
therapy, right? Maybe you don't like keto, but maybe you like, I don't know, being pescatarian or something like that. Trying out little things, like it's going to be a discovery process, and you have to kind of fall in love with the process of learning how to identify what it is that's best for you. And to your other question, because I know I didn't answer it about the obstacles, I think one of the biggest obstacles is probably the consistency and like being committed to the process itself and not necessarily the end goal.
Okay. Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. I struggle with that a lot. So in last week's episode, I talked about decentering my goals because I was so not saying that I don't have goals and that I don't want to accomplish things in life, but not getting caught up on the rigid timelines, not getting caught up on the end goal, because when that's all you can think, eat, sleep, dream about, and then when you have a season where you know that you can't do as much to that goal, or you can't give as much to that goal that you want to, you can only give a little, it messes you up and you feel devastated. You feel like you're not accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
And I had to take a step back to just stop focusing on the end goal and just appreciate like the journey and like trust the process. And like everyone, I'll just trust the process. Like, girl, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
Gotta trust the process.
Yeah.
But yeah, like not focusing on the end goal and just understanding that it's like this lifelong commitment and it's a consistency thing, and
And
it's
there's
like
ebbs, and there's flows. Yeah, and it's not a linear process. It makes me think of, I'm sure some of your listeners have read it, but it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. That whole book is about like the impact of compound interest that comes from small little steps every single day. So like 1% better every single day. Well, that's still 365% better by the end of the year. You know what I mean?
I've picked up that book so many times. Like I really need to. I have it.
Really?
I have it. I read like the first 2 chapters. Like I've picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down. And everyone's like, you really need, I'm going to get back into reading this year. I've read 2 books so far. And that is, I know. 2.
You know, I'm a reading girly. I
know. I've read 2 books so far this year. But I really want to get back into reading. And like Atomic Habits is, like I made a realistic goal, like a book a month, right? Like to say like, I'm going to read 3 books a month. Like I know myself, like no. You know, you got, like you say, like that 1%, but like set yourself up for like realistic accomplishments.
Yeah, and just a little tip that might help. So what I do for self-development books and self-help books, I listen to them. I don't read them.
Ooh.
That helps me a lot because I can listen to it in the gym while on the treadmill.
Okay.
Like I feel, I don't know, it's a little bit more feasible for me. Whereas with fiction, because reading is still reading. Like
yeah. Reading is still
so
reading.
I enjoy fiction a little bit more. So that's what I read like on my Kindle and stuff like that. But yeah.
Maybe I should do that, like my financial books and like my self-help books, listen to those.
Yes.
And then like the fun, the fun books, like my friend, she had an event for Valentine's Day, and I got a murder mystery book, and I'm like, those are like fun books, like I can read it. Like
I'm a thriller girl. That's like all up my alley. I literally only listen to the self-help book. So right now I'm listening to The Financial Feminist. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
That's on my list of books. Okay, so let me actually, because you sent me a book. I need to read that. I need to listen to that. I know.
I did. Were you able to access? I'm sorry. Were you able to access that?
Let's talk about that offline.
Okay.
But the answer to your question is yes. But maybe that's what I need to do because, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoyed reading as a kid. But like as you gotten older and different things like that, but maybe listening to the self-help and the financial books and like physically reading the like the thrillers, those different books, that might help me with reading because I'm such a I interpret, like I need to hear it versus like reading it, if that makes sense. Yes.
All of my self-help books I like to listen to on an audiobook.
Okay.
And you can also change the speed. So like let's just say you cooking dinner. Like you can turn on Atomic Habits, cook dinner, clean the house. I don't know. It just kind of helps you feel a little bit more productive. And then you use reading the fiction, like physically, as like a wind down kind of calming habit.
See, that is why you're the wellness girly, because that makes so much, because like I read at night, like I have to, read at night.
Yes.
And at night, I'm not trying to read about no goddamn finances.
Yeah, no. But at the top but see, that's why I like to front load a lot of my days. So like, I like to do all my productive stuff
throughout the day. In
the morning, because by 5 p.m.
I'm done. Like my brain is fried. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to try that. So my month of March, that's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
And I'll report back to you at the end of March and let you know how did
Yes.
that go.
Please.
Okay, perfect. See, this is why we always get off topic. I love you, so all right. What is your favorite, like, what is your perfect wellness day?
Ooh, that's such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it starts probably with a really good workout class,
Mm-hmm.
probably bar. So it
They
starts
need
with
to
a work.
sponsor you at this point.
At this point, honestly, I think I'd be a great spokesperson. But yeah, so I think a really good workout class early in the morning, get back, shower, maybe go like get my nails done, go get a green juice. Um, I know these are all like trendy, but like I actually enjoy these things. They make me happy. Um, I really think that make sure I get me a really, really good meal. I love a good bowl, specifically kava. So maybe getting me a really, really good
Oh,
meal.
you making me hungry.
Come back, do my whole skincare routine. Yeah, that would be like
That
a good
is a
one.
good day. Oh my God. I would say like my perfect like wellness day would to start off with a good workout. After my workout, come back and make me a brown sugar shaken oatmeal espresso.
Ooh, I forgot one espresso. Yes.
Oh my God. I tried to get into matcha. I'm not a matcha girly. And I'm about to flex a little bit. I've had matcha in Japan
Ooh.
and I was
Period.
not a fan. So I had the
Period.
real matcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't a fan. You know, a little flex.
Yeah.
Brown sugar oatmeal shaken espresso. Good shower, exfoliate, all the whole routine. Oil up, smelling like a vanilla baddie.
Period.
Turkey bacon, specifically from Sam's Club. They have the best turkey
They do.
bacon.
The uncured.
Yes, I don't know what it is in their turkey bacon.
Yep.
Somebody grandma back there making the turkey bacon. Fried eggs, piece of sourdough toast.
Yes.
And then, like, so I told you every month I'm doing I want to start pouring back into myself because I had realized that I was just I was so scared of messing up my timeline to financial freedom. And I
Right.
realized that there's not a timeline, it is a consistent forever thing. So I'm pouring back into myself. So every month for Deny Day, I'm trying new things. I've never had a facial. But this month, in the month of March for Deny Day, I'm getting the facial. So I would say like that whole day, put on a cute little workout set and go get a facial, sushi, and then have a glass of wine.
Oh, that would be lovely. I love that idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I want to make an amendment, definitely making, so I know you're an iced coffee girly, aren't you?
Oh, even in the wintertime.
So I actually like hot coffee. I don't know why, but like it just feels all warm and cozy.
It
and,
does.
like, fuzzy.
I'm not
In
like
between.
a hard like a high
Yeah.
hard, but I do love like that. The end of the day, that first sip feeling.
Yes.
It's just like
It
perfect.
is so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
definitely add in like one of my little lattes with almond milk into that day. But yeah,
Okay.
love that.
Perfect. How do you continue to stay encouraged?
I think one of my biggest hacks with that is like putting my goals and my vision in the forefront. And so being intentional about like my algorithm, for example, making sure that I am consuming content that is consistent with what it is I'm trying to accomplish. Because when I'm seeing women who are already in the goals, lovely, inspirational. But I think there's something to be said about seeing another woman who is just, sending $15 to their savings account. You know what I mean? Like she's in the brunt of the process just like you. And she's trying to accomplish maybe not the exact same goals, but very similar. It's encouraging and seeing yourself in other people that you're not alone. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I do. And then also being intentional about like, for example, listening to financial books. The more I consume information about it, the more it kind of inspires me. It kind of keeps it in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
It keeps me focused. Because I don't always want to be the financially responsible girly.
No.
Sometimes I want to go blow.
Yeah. And I think, and I was just gonna ask you, like, what are like some habits you recommend for people aiming to healthy habits, aiming to achieve, like, not only wellness but like financial wellness as well? And how do you like stay encouraged? So it's like a part two to this, because like I think I struggled for a long time with like feeling broke, because it's like I have it,
Right.
but I know I need to
Right.
be responsible.
Right.
And I've said this on the show, like, y'all, I am just a girl. I'm figuring this thing called life out, like, with y'all together. I'm just showcasing it and letting y'all in my business. But when I pay off my stuff, babe, y'all gotta give me a month.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta give me
Yeah.
I know you have to give me a month to like show my ass.
Yeah. 'Cause I have like a backlog of things I need to go buy.
The first thing I'm buying is a Chanel. Like, I have a savings. Like, you.
You have a sinking fund for the Chanel stock.
Yes, I do. and do. And do. What do we? It's like $10 in there, so it's not like I'm not like super
No, but
aggressive
it's
in it right
there.
now. But baby, I have a sinking fund for the Chanel. Like, what are we talking about?
Period.
Like,
Period.
but how do you like what are some habits that you recommend for women aiming to achieve financial wellness and just wellness overall? Like, how do we, like, in the month of Women's History Month, like, what do you recommend for women to do and not getting caught up in the rat race?
Yeah, so I would first say find books that are specifically written by women, I think. Even better if it's a woman of color who are talking about the topic of money and financial freedom and financial wellness. I think reading books like that, especially by women who look like you, it's inspiring. It kind of like, I don't know, it's like, let me get on my zone.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like, I
Yeah.
can do it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can do it too. And I think that's really, really, really important. And I think also making sure that, again, you're consuming all of that content that's inspirational, not focusing on women who are not in the same lane as you right now. Like, you guys are in different seasons, not like romanticizing other people's lives while you're in this process of grinding in some way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then I think on a more practical level, putting systems together, like having a budgeting system, having a system where you're checking in with your finances regularly and romanticizing that process.
Absolutely.
Because I am not a math girly. I don't like numbers. I've never really liked numbers.
Never.
It just, you and I were political science majors.
Yeah.
So like,
I have my skills in math and stuff. But, baby, I was at the math center every Monday. I
okay,
don't play.
listen.
Never
trying to-
failed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, not my thing. And so I have to be a little bit more intentional about
Absolutely.
making the process and the routine enjoyable for me. So even something as simple as, making sure my little budget template is super cute. So I want to look at it.
Get it.
Otherwise,
Oh my
I will
God,
ignore it.
yes. Yes. I agree. And like, I think that's why this year I've made it a point to bring the fun back in this journey. Because I feel like I was saying earlier, I wanted to be like, take it serious, and I wanted to like look like my counterparts and do these different things. But
Right.
I have learned that we are all one of one. Everyone's journey is going to look so different, but there is no other than I. Like, I am a fun, goofy person. Like, if you know me, like, baby, I got a story for everything. And I just want to bring the fun back. And so, just with different things that I've been doing and showing people, like, just the lifestyle of it. Like, it is a lifestyle. It's not no one size fit all, but like, we can have fun while doing this. Like, we can still, it is sexy when you got your money together. I don't want to look like it. I want it to be like, oh, like, no, I really got a bag. Like, I really have it together, not just on the outside, but in the spirit matches as well. Like, I'm not this nasty, I think I'm better than everybody. No, baby, like, baby, it took me a minute to get here, and I just want everyone to win. Like, if this girl from the south side of Chicago,
Period.
no financial background, no education, young parents, they figured it out.
Yeah.
And if I could get out of almost 6 figures worth of this, I know that you can too.
Yeah. And to add on to that too, to answer your question about different things that you can do as well, I definitely think that adding a line item for things that you enjoy in your budget is a must.
Yes,
Because when you try to
yes.
go, for example, my boyfriend, he's always been an athlete. He was a collegiate athlete, and so he's always been active.
You got a
However,
big boy. This is all I need a big boy. Girl, that's how Chauncey is too. People like, oh my God. Every time we go somewhere, I know y'all get stopped. 'Cause, like,
Girl.
we get stopped. So I'm like, please, he's regular.
it's so crazy. Men will shake his hand and be
Yeah.
like, wow.
You got a strong handshake.
Don't gas him. Don't gas him. He already thinks he's the Hulk. Like, let's not do that.
Yes,
Anyway.
I'm cracking up. So we literally live the same life. So.
No, literally. But no, trying to get him back into like the gym and incorporating fitness again while still like working full time and all the things is challenging because he wants to go full force. He wants to go full force, absolutely no wiggle room, very strict immediately. And I'm like, babe, you're gonna burn out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not how you create a sustainable lifestyle. And so similarly for finances, right? I started out, I know, in the beginning being very strict. And I really didn't have a choice to some degree too. But not having any wiggle room,
Yes.
I got burnt out so quickly.
fast. Yes.
So
me
what
too.
I started doing now is a non-negotiable in my budget is two things. I need like an everyday kind of budget. I mean, like, I forgot spaghetti sauce, so I need to go to Publix and go get spaghetti sauce. So like little stuff like that, like
the
everyday
little
spending.
miscellaneous.
Yeah, little miscellaneous stuff, and then also deciphering between self-maintenance and self-care, because in my brain they're different.
They're different. They are though. They are. Like
Yeah.
I consider maintenance as like, like nails and wax
Yes.
and like hair.
Yes.
Whereas self-care is more like girls' nights.
Yeah.
Different things like that. I'm just a girl.
Self-maintenance is whatever helps me feel like myself.
Stuff. Yes. Yes. And self-care is like making sure that I like don't lose myself.
Yes.
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 I feel like it's a little extra stuff.
So
a
just make
little-
an extra category. So the 3. So I have deny day,
Yes.
which is like nobody talks to me. I'm spending the day by myself. Then I have like maintenance. I have like a maintenance budget, and then and so in my maintenance budget is like like self-care and different things like that, like skincare, like all of the things like re-ups, like that's what that category is. And then
Right.
my 3rd is my payoff celebration. So when I hit milestones along the way, like when I pay off this first credit card, I'm gonna go get like my 2nd ears pierced,
Ooh.
like my second home. So like little like pay off things to just like you say, just constantly, like we don't have to be so restrictive, because
No.
when you restrict yourself, you overindulge.
Yeah. It creates, I was talking to my therapist about that, but it's almost like you go on a binge.
Yes. Yes.
So I would do that where I would be super restrictive for like 6 months, like on my,
And then you
on my,
binge.
I don't know if I can, on my stuff.
You can say, girl, you can cuss.
Oh, okay.
You was on your shit.
I'm on it. And then I hit that 6-month wall, and I'm like, yo.
You burnt out. Yeah.
I need to go shopping today,
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
And I just binge,
Yeah.
overindulge on everything.
Thing. Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
like regret, have the regret. And so
Yes.
that's why I'm just so happy that like, as we begin to, conclude today's episode, I'm so happy that you talked about like the importance of like creating those, healthy habits along the way. So like, what's one piece of advice that you have for people who, so we don't overindulge, create those healthy habits? Like one piece of advice you would give to anyone listening out there today?
To create parameters, but not necessarily rigid rules. Make sure that your plan to financial wellness or emotional wellness or mental wellness is flexible, because life is going to happen.
Yes.
You have to be adaptable.
Yes.
But also making sure that you have a plan to get back on the horse, right? Sometimes you can make like a little plan B, like, okay, if I just say fuck it and shit just hits the wall,
Yeah.
I have a little plan. I have a couple of steps that I can do to make me feel like I'm getting it back in order. And that goes for finances, physical wellness, that type of thing. So just making sure that you have parameters, but not necessarily rigid rules on exactly how everything needs to go, because life be life it.
I know. I wish I known you 2 years ago when I started, because that it sits with me so well right now, because I'm telling y'all, like, make sure that what Ari is saying today is so important, because like having those parameters will help you be okay when things don't go your way.
Right.
Because life is not this one straight line. It is not linear.
Right.
And of course we cannot control like what happened, like things that are out of our control, but don't let that season in your life, no matter how long it is, knock you off from your square where you retreat backwards. You work too hard to get to where you are to turn around. And I wish I knew that so much sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Ari, I have one fun question before we conclude. What are the future goals for DG? How are you gonna keep empowering the girl? Because you have a gift. Like, when I tell you, this episode has blessed me so much, because like, like what I wish I knew then, but you knew not. Like, I wish like I knew these things earlier, but you have a gift, and what an amazing episode to kick start Women's History Month. So what's the future goals? Like, what are we doing? I know we doing some meetups. Like, what's tea? I know you probably can't tell us much, but give me some tea.
No, but like one of my long-term goals is I would love to make DG like a household, just like lifestyle brand. I also foresee, like, this is just me like speaking and giving power to words, because there's life in the tongue. And I would love like a wellness conference, and where I have women speaking like you and other women in different areas and avenues where their expertise can be shared with women like us and help us and inspire us. And I don't know, we do like yoga and do all the like wellnessy things. Like, that's what I foresee for DG. And also just interviewing more women. I love talking to women that I'm inspired by.
Yes.
Like, it's fun. I love having conversations like this.
Yes.
How can we get better? How can I, put me on? I love this. So
I literally, like, everything I do is for the girls. Like,
period.
like, period. Like you said, like, I love speaking to other women, just
Yes.
like, and it's just so empowering, because we can, and we all have different stories, right? Like,
Right.
sometimes my story might not resonate with someone, but your story does resonate with someone. It just depends. Like, and so just like hearing from different women in different seasons, and just knowing that there is so much room at the table for everyone. It's just so beautiful, inspiring. So, Ari, is there anything else that you need for, like, any last words for the girls? Like,
No last words other than the fact that Denai is amazing.
oh my God, stop. I did not force her to say these things.
She did not. But also, happy Women's History Month. And yeah, Denai's amazing.
Oh my God.
Be financially abundant.
And get the budget template, because it dropped
Please.
last week.
Yes. If you don't have a budget, what are you doing?
Well, thank you so much, Ari. I really appreciate you. And I just thank God for just our connection, and just so much light that you shared on today's episode. It was truly, truly amazing. And thank you all, family, for tuning in to another episode of the Financially Abundant Podcast. I love you all. I hope you all have an amazing day. Download Audible. Like Ari said, download Audible. Listen to the self-help financial books to and from. You have an hour. You can do it. I love you all, and I'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.